the pitch is Luke towards shortstop. Petroselli's back. He's got it. The Red Sox win. And pandemonium on the field.
Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, brought to you each week by the National Sports Collectors Convention. Join us every Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and get the latest news from the greatest experts in the sports collectibles world. You can watch us on the Great American Collectibles Facebook page, as well as YouTube, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And now your hosts, award-winning sports collectibles author Tom Zappola and Boston sports media personality John Mallory.
Good morning, boys. Good afternoon, boys. Whatever the hell time it is. Johnny boy, how are ya? Johnny boy, we can't hear you, bro.
You can't hear me?
Oh, there
that
you
was
go.
me. I forgot that.
You got me?
I clipped his mic twice, apparently.
Jordan Gilroy in the house. Jordan, my man, how are you?
Good, nice and warm, thankfully.
Yeah, we're loving it here too. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zapp, my good friend and co-host Johnny Mallory, JM, affectionately known as Boston sports media personality, who one time was escorted out of the city of Boston on a rail.
Had nothing to do with media. That was mostly a drinking thing. But
it was okay. Louis in the house. Lou Blasi, our old new producer. Lou's in the house. We're glad to be back with Lou. This is the beginning of our new season. Hi, Louis.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. How we doing?
Hey, Lou.
You okay, Lou?
I'm okay.
All right.
I've had some of my best discussions, debates, back and forth, exchange, discourse in more than 35 years in media with Lou Blasi. I love that we're working with Lou again.
Yeah, I am
on
too.
Your career on Sirius too, so
that's right.
And Lou and I have had some good discussions too. Did I ever tell you about the time he chased me out of the studio over an extension cord?
it's not the way that went down.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was your fault, Zach.
It was. There's no doubt. Hey, listen, Steve Verkman. Obviously, Jordon is from Leland's. I don't like calling him. He's not on. I don't like calling him your boss. He's not your boss, is he?
I know. Let's find out from Steve.
Jesus, he's here. Steve. All right, so Steve, we got to ask the question. Steve, are you his boss? How does this work?
I suppose so.
Steve Verkman from Clean Sweeps as well as Scott. He made it on time. Everything okay?
Yeah, I had a cortisone shot. We love these doctor's offices. Come 15 minutes early, but we make you wait an hour.
You know what you need to do? I'll tell you. You want to straighten them out? You send them a bill. That's what you do. You send them a bill. I did that once. They tossed me. They got a new patient.
If you wait more than a half hour, they should pay the copay.
Absolutely. They should do something.
I agree. 100%.
Hey, listen, we got a good show. Later on in the show, a good friend of ours back here in town, Taylor Fisher, is the GM of, I know Lou's a big Fisher Cats fan, the AA affiliate for the Toronto Blue Jays. Very wildly popular up here because this is where they play their games. And Taylor's the GM. He's going to be joining us a little later on. We're going to have some good Blue Jays Red Sox talk. See who some of the upcoming stars are for the Blue Jays. But anyway, let's get to these two gents. You guys, all kinds of stuff going on. Steve, you first. You have is this the biggest auction that you've ever had, or pretty close?
It's close. I mean, we'll see where the numbers end up because we had one 2 years ago with the Babe Ruth rookie card and a world of stuff. So it's one of the four biggest ones we've run, or five. That we've run. So there's some crazy stuff in here. And I mean, it's just like I was just looking while I was waiting at the doctor's office, like there's an E90-2 Honus Wagner and a PSA 1.5, freshly graded, hasn't been on the market in like 30 years. And I was looking at it. I think there's 25 different bidders on the lot. I mean, it's just amazing the bandwidth of people looking at these high-end cards.
I'm going to give you a little backstory on that card. I bought that card once. And I think this is I'm hanging my stuff out here. And you're probably familiar with this, both you and Jordon. I paid, it was a PSA 2. I paid $20,000 for it, right? The card sold for $45,000.
Yeah.
So that's going to give for you viewers that are looking at his card. I'm telling you right now, that card is going to skyrocket. It's a great card. They call it the poor man's Honus Wagner card, correct?
Yeah, because it's the same image as the T206. That's one. Well, the M116 is similar too, but that one's just a lot more popular.
Yeah, I have a couple of those that I've kind of kept them. I like the pastel color and the blue, but that E90-2 that's a killer card. JM?
Yeah, no, Steve, I was going to say, this seems like one of those auctions, even a guy like yourself that's been in the game for so long. There's a few items in there, I mean, that I'll call them wow items. Keep going. Are there a couple items that stand out to you that are just different, unique, maybe something even you haven't seen before?
Yeah, I mean, well, the even better Wagner card is there's a 1910 tip top, which is crazy rare. I've had, in 30 years, I've had like 2 of them, maybe 3 of them. You don't even ever see the card. So we have a tip top, which I'm real excited about. And it's interesting that one's a 1.5 also, and they're kind of like trading together. It's fun watching them go along, the tip top and the E90-2. Right now, the E90-2 is ahead by a hair, but I suspect the tip top will be ahead of it, by the time things are done. So it's just a great looking card. It's a 1.5, but it's got terrific eye appeal. And then the real, I would say, the piece de resistance of the auction. There's a 1923 Elections Babe Ruth. The Elections cards are these, very truly rare cards that even the big type card collectors often don't have. It's a real neat issue, very unusual. A group of them came out in the early 90s, but no roofs, and they were in horrible condition. And even at the time, I think they were $1,000 cards for a common. So this one is what for the issue, a really, really high grade card. So it's a PSA 5, top 1 of 1. Maybe the next highest one's like a 2. So, how often do you ever see a vintage Babe Ruth card come to market that's, orders of magnitude ahead of anything else that's
good
been
point.
made?
Good point. Jordon, first of all, is your title the consignment director for Leland's, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's on the business card. It says director of acquisitions because, you put private sales in there too. But, yeah, one of those two. It's kind of the same.
Now you don't have an auction going right now. When is you had a Blockbuster auction not too long ago. When is your next auction?
End of July. It actually opens the day before we get into Chicago for the National.
So typically you guys have always done that, right? You've always had an auction coinciding with the Nash?
Either running during the National or making that like the consignment deadline because, obvious reasons, but it's always more fun when you have something live and you could tell people, hey, this is live. You can bid in it right now instead of saying it's going to be live in 2 months.
Yeah.
Do you have any teasers you can throw at us, or is everything under the cover right now?
No, I mean, there's like a really big Michael Jordon Hobby Fresh insert autograph from the 90s that could be a 6-figure card. Working on some pretty cool stuff that, I'm not going to jinx yet, but we've had a couple big modern sport card collections that in total will, go over 6 figures, but maybe the most expensive individual card is 10, 20,000, which is still solid. But we just got a signed program from the first Hall of Fame baseball induction ceremony and signed by all 11 living members at the time.
Wow.
So there's a lot of cool stuff. If I went through the auction, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I forgot that's in there. We have 1,600 lots already, and we still have about a month to get stuff.
Good for you.
I want to ask you guys, sorry, Zap,
ahead.
it's this great mingling of 2 such big names, in the hobby with Clean Sweep and Leland's. It really is like a combination and a combination of titans in our industry. What's the communication like on both sides in terms of, Clean Sweep and Leland's, the separation and the togetherness? Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Well, we hate each other, and
I can sense that. That's why I asked the question.
Sometimes something good comes in, and sometimes it gets a little violent.
They arm wrestle. Well, Steve, let me ask you this: how far are you guys from each other? How far is Leland's from Clean Sweep?
It's an annoying traffic thing. It's only 60 miles, but it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours each way. So it depends on what the items are. So regularly we get consigners, and what I like about the arrangement or love about the arrangement is, certain auctions, we do the same thing, but we don't do the same thing. There's lots that are going to do a lot better in Clean Sweep, and there's lots that are going to do a lot better in Leland's. So what we can offer people is, we get very precise marketing of where things can go, really good placement. Instead of just being a cookie cutter auction with, a million lots and everything just gets thrown in helly-nelly, we can tailor it. And for example, earlier this year, Jordon got this unbelievable autograph collection. It was just amazing. And the guy had 2 Mathewson single sign balls. Wow. So, a lot of other auction houses, they put them both in one auction. You don't want to do that. So we spread that out. And that one, the case, the Clean Sweep one, I think got more, but other cases, the Leland's prices are going to be huge. So if people have quantities of things, items that replicate themselves, and the certain issues, certain things are going to do better in each other's auction. So we try to, as much as possible, maximize the return for people by, putting the items in the right place.
Jordan and Steve, I don't know if I mentioned this before we went on the air. JM and I and Louis were talking. The week after next, we're doing our annual wrestling show. And your old boss, Mike, is going to join us. He'll be with us for the hour along with Joe Orlando. And I think we're going to bring in 1 or 2 of the pros. We do a wrestling show. We started it last year with JM and I. We had a blast, John. That was fun, right?
Yeah, I love talking about that stuff. I mean, Lou was talking about before, I grew up 70s, 80s into the 90s. Those are my guys, but I still follow it. I actually worked in the city of Methuen with John Cena's dad. And every now and then, he wrestles as well locally. So I
talked to Hef, and we're gonna make every concerted effort to get him on with us.
The father or the son?
The son.
Wow, that'd be great.
Reason being is, he lives right across the river here from me.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We're going to see what we can do. That's you never know. You never know. Louis, last year when we did the wrestling show, who we opened up the show with, of course, don't you?
John Mallory, not John Mallory, John Vitale.
Right, the fabulous Johnny Vegas.
Right. That's right.
We found him in Orlando. He was working as an orange picker.
Which, bringing it back to the show, he actually did some PA announcing for the Fisher Cats before he moved down south.
That's right. He did. He did. Forgot to mention
Great
that.
voice. Great voice.
Yes.
I always refer to John Cena as my neighbor, by the way, because when I used to live next door to you over there, you can see his house from space across the river there.
You got a card with the Lennox back. Talk about that card.
Yeah, great card. I mean, those things have gone crazy in price over the years. You just, there's some of them around, but it's one of the ultimate T12-6 cards, and that's one of the great cards. Another card that you never see. There's a Crofts Cocoa tie cob. That's an SGC 1.5. Right now, with a week to go with the buyer's premium, it's over $16,000. That's whatever you call it, a bucket list tie cob card for so many people. You never see it. And then one of my favorite lots, there's an M101-1. The card's from 1899, a Cy Young rookie card.
Wow.
To Beckett to get graded. You never see those. You hold those in hand. Those are just great. They're beautiful. They're so well designed. I even have a few in my collection. I love those cards, and I know some people won't collect them, but it's to their regret or their loss.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's a great card. You also have. Did I see you have a Ramley Johnson?
Yeah, I mean it's gotten a ton of action. It's a serviceable one. It's got staining increases. It's no better than that, but that's such an iconic card. That's gotten 30 or 40 bids, and then another one of the dollar-wise one of the big cards. Especially for football collectors, we have a National Chickle 1935 Bronco and Nagurski in a 4, and that's a huge deal.
That's kind of like the Mona Lisa of football cards, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, you have that one rare Mayo card, the one that's impossible. Right. But there's not that many as you say, Mount Rushmore football cards of scarcity. It would just be condition.
Right.
I'd like to see have both you guys comment on this, and we've seen over the last couple of years, Zap, the autograph cards have really come to the forefront. And back in the day, they were kind of forbidden. Oh, sign the card, you ruin the value of it. Are you guys both on the autograph card bandwagon? Do you seek them out? Do you see more coming in on the Leland side and on Clean Sweep? Both you guys.
All right, Jordan, take it first.
Yeah, I love signed cards, mostly because you see a million unsigned cards, but like the population reports for signed ones are still pretty low. So you don't need to get a PSA 8 grade for something to be the highest grade on a signed card. I mean, you could have a certain mantle signed card and it be a PSA 5, and it's the best one, highest graded in the world. So I also love autographs. So it just adds to the value and the scarcity and the hunt too, because they're more scarce. So it's just that more exciting when you see one.
Do you guys see the younger collectors? A lot of them are really into signed modern cards. Do you guys see much of them being or gravitating towards vintage autograph cards? You can, either one of you can.
Yeah, absolutely. It shows. I mean, it's amazing. Like these 12-year-old kids come up and they want Mickey Mantle cards, and they love T206s and Gaudies. It's funny the things that these kids are into. They know all the big name players and they love the autograph cards. That's where it started. People started collecting the modern autographed insert cards and they wanted to go backwards. So that's what's driving a lot of it. And then you have these people like in the current Clean Sweep auction, not to do it too much. Like there's a 58 top set with like 400 different signed cards. So people are trying to make these vintage sets complete, and it's almost impossible, but people will fight that fight where, it's a certain common that used to be $10 is now $100. I mean, it's amazing that how many people are doing it, because, a lot of those sets just can't be completed, but you know how it is. You tell someone they can't do something and first thing is they're going to want to do it. So they love these challenges with these vintage signed card things. So it's a broad-based thing with the signed cards. Like it's an explosion, I would say, in the last 5 years.
You have a Nap Lajoie signed baseball, kind of a very rare. That's a tough ball to find in decent condition. Can you talk about that?
Sure. I mean, this one's not in great condition, but I mean, there's also another really rare ball. Yeah, Lajoie died in 1959. He signed through the mail most of his life.
Right.
Not a rare autograph, but always a desirable autograph. But he's almost impossible on a baseball. I've only heard of about 5 of them. And then we also have a Huey Jennings single signed ball.
Wow.
He died in 1924, I believe. The ball was signed like in 1909. And that stuff just is, not singularly rare, but the Jennings thing, is in that neighborhood. I mean, maybe there's 5 of them. So yeah, those great single signed balls are wonderful. And then we got this really cool collection, 2 other signed baseballs that are really special, that are hobby fresh. There's a 1939 Yankee ball with a real Lou Gehrig. Gehrig played very few games that year. He was very sick. 99% of these have a secretary of Lou Gehrig and usually more. So this came from a guy who was an orthopedist or something, or a urologist for the Yankee players. So he had this, and then he had a really cool 1947 Babe Ruth Day signed baseball with Honus Wagner, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, George Sisler, and a bunch of other guys. So those are 2 of the, brand new to the hobby. The guy was a doctor. His son could sign it to the auction. So just some, world-class signed baseballs.
Kind of have to get that straight. Was he orthopedist or urologist? That's a very different exam. So very, very different there. So yeah.
So I think it was urologist.
That makes a big difference.
All right. So Jordon, a couple of things before we let you go. You're going to be at the National. You're going to be manning the booth. At the National, you've got some real surprises in the auction. What do you have? What is your auction schedule pretty much over the course of the rest of the year?
We have like 3 or 4 big auctions a year, and let's say once one ends, the next one will open about 2 to 2.5 months later. So this one will end in late August. So the next one will probably be around October, November.
So is your National auction, is that the signature auction for the year for you guys, the big one?
I mean, usually it is, yeah, but you never know. Like if a massive collection comes in September, then that November or October auction will definitely be the big one. It's pretty much when the big collections or big single items come in, but a lot of people like to time stuff around the National, so that usually ends up being a big one.
All right, listen, we're going to take a break. I know you have to go, Jordon. You have to go make a few bucks for your boss here, as well as yourself. You don't want to tell us what the consignment is that's coming in there?
It's an important LeBron James autograph card that was like one of the more recent autographs, like one of those non-licensed cards, but it's a big deal. So
see, you're putting a smile on Steve's face. I can see that.
it's a good card, yeah.
Right. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. Steve, you're going to hang with us for another segment?
Sure.
All right. Steve's with us a little later on in the show. Taylor is going to be joining us, Taylor Fisher. By the way, Taylor Fisher and the Fisher Cats, no relation, nothing there with the name, just coincidence. We're going to take a quick break. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
I'm Rebecca Curry, a two-time child cancer survivor, recipient, and advocate for Lucy's Love Bus. The mission of Lucy's Love Bus, 501c3 nonprofit, is to provide joy, comfort, and quality of life for the entire family of children with cancer. Since 2006, they have delivered love and comfort to over 3,000 children with cancer and their family members across New England. The dream of Lucy Grogan, an 11-year-old cancer patient, was to help kids with cancer who are suffering right now, before there is a cure, by offering free, integrative therapies like art, music, horseback riding, and many other activities. Unfortunately, Lucy passed away, but her dream lives on, and today Lucy's Love Bus is thriving.
I'm Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli. I hope that you'll consider supporting Lucy's Love Bus and all of those children who have been stricken by cancer. The Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus to help these kids. Let's continue Lucy's dream. Please go to lucyslovebus.org for more information.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
For more than 30 years, Robert Edward Auctions has been the industry leader when it comes to helping you realize the most money for your baseball cards and sports memorabilia. In addition to their unparalleled reputation for honesty and integrity, they reach the largest number of bidders in the business and offer lower seller's fees, as well as generous cash advances up front on your valuable material. Contact them today at 908-226-9900. That's 908-226-9900 or at robertedwardauction.com.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectibles Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and Steve Verkman's in the house with myself and JM and Louie. Steve, I want to switch gears a little bit. I read an article in Sports Collectors Daily that they're looking at potential venues for the 2028 National, and they're looking at Atlanta, and they're looking at Detroit. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, having done the 2 Atlanta Nationals, I mean, I have a crazy story about that. I sincerely, profoundly hope it is not in Atlanta. It's a wonderful city. It's a nice place to go. You have great restaurants. I have nothing bad to say about it. But in terms of the collecting world and how many people get there, you just don't have enough of a local base. The National, even though a lot of people fly in, the core of the people, in my opinion, drive 4 hours to get there. And you do not have that collector base within 250 miles of Atlanta at all, versus what you'll have in Detroit. I mean,
can you expound on that a little bit, Steve? Just elaborate on that a bit.
I've been selling stuff since and I'm doing shows since like 1989, mail order since 1989. Let's say there's collectors within 250 miles of Atlanta. It's a great area. Again, not critiquing it anyway. I have a great time there, but you just don't have that many collectors in that part of the country within a driving distance. So you're going to make people fly. It's not in the middle of the country. It's an awkward flight, and you don't have a local base. So the first National Land, I always tell this story. We're going to get myself in trouble here. I thought I was so smart. I said, I'm going to stock up on all the African-American players because I'm going to have all these African-American doctors and lawyers in Atlanta walking around. Of course, not one card sold. I sold. I learned my lesson. The second time in Atlanta, we stocked up a whole bunch of inventory. And we actually had a really good show, the second Atlanta National. But it was interesting. Every single sale was on a credit card. And if you had a few big sales, you were dead. So they got an okay crowd, and the venue's nice. But it's a big, big, big mistake. To have it there. I mean, Detroit's not a perfect thing either, but at least it's in the middle of the country. It's easy to get to. People from Chicago can come, people from Ohio can come, people from Pittsburgh can come, within easy, an easy drive, and then you have to fly in.
And I think, this thing is called the National. I think whenever you have a national convention, if you have it on one coast, like you said, as great as the city of Atlanta or wherever it might be, middle of the country is better. And I think with Detroit could be interesting because you may get some Canadian collectors coming right over the border into Detroit. That's an interesting venue.
I don't, something, why not just leave it in Chicago? I mean, Chicago's always been a great venue. Everybody seems to like it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't understand it.
I mean, actually, I think it's smart to rotate it. Believe it or not, the hobby is so big now and so strong that like the last 3 Nationals were Atlantic City, Chicago, and Cleveland, I believe, or 3 of the last 4. Each one, I don't know what the number is. I would say 80%, 90% of the crowd was different. The hobby's so strong that each one has a different flavor for what sells, what walks in, what people do. And I think they made a mistake doing Chicago 3 straight years. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Part of the allure of the National is, if you want to buy stuff and you're there or sell stuff, wait, next year it's in a different city. So it kind of forces.
Well, you know what's I'm seeing too, Steve, is huge shows are popping up now in different parts of the country. Huge. I'm not talking 300, 400, 500 table. I'm talking, there's one that I'm hearing that it's coming up this way where we are. And if someone says something about 1,000 tables, it's like crazy. It's like crazy stuff that's happening. So I don't know. Again, I'm a big guy. I'm a big National fan. I think that's the epicenter of the hobby. And I love Chicago, man. I love Chicago.
Steve, you have so many great items in your auctions, and we'll get back to this one and some more items in there. But it's just same week in, week out, auction out and auction out, auction in and auction out. You have great, unique items. So what played off what Zap just said, that the National's the epicenter. Is the National the epicenter of guys like yourself and others in the business of your year? Is a lot of things tailored around the National, or is it more your auctions?
Well, for the National, I used to say it sets up a few months worth of business. We'll sell more than we're going to sell at other shows, and we buy and take on consignment just tons and tons of stuff. So it's the most important week of the year. So I guess you could say that. But nowadays, like Jordon was alluding to, I mean, you might get a call with a $500,000 collection or something, or maybe you get that at the National. So it's not necessarily the most stuff you're going to take in. It was for our size company in the whole year, but it'll be big. But there can be, believe it or not, there can be weeks where 2 collections come in that might be more than we get in the whole National if they're, really, really sizable. But, National is great for seeing the people, the energy there. It's fun walking around. I mean, I love it too. I mean, it kills me, that whole 6-day thing. It goes on forever. But, it's a lot of fun. There's nothing like it. Any collector would love walking around. There's so much to take in there, and, everything's there.
We're going to be just by the way, we're going to be there. We're going to be broadcasting on Friday afternoon of the National from 1 to 3 in the main stage. I don't know who the sponsor is. I think it's the WhatsApp, whatever it's called, stage again. I don't know what it's called. But anyway, we're going to be broadcasting from 1 to 3. We've got some great guests that we're lining up. I hope you stop by and see us at the National. And then we'll be around. We usually do a little video with all of our sponsors, shoot the breeze with them. We love getting together with them. It's a lot of fun. Steve, I know you don't really get into modern stuff, but Max Fried is having a phenomenal season. Hypothetically, does that card go up in value, or is it just go up in value temporarily? How does that work?
Oh, absolutely. Not hypothetically. Absolutely. They go in value. His autograph and all the things are probably double. It just depends on how the season goes. I mean, baseball, pitchers could have an incredibly hot first half, and then second half's another story. Guys can be, 15-1 at the All-Star break and then go 3-6 the rest of the time. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you just never know with the new cards. But, there's probably a permanent, between him, also him being traded to the Yankees, there's probably a permanent change in the valuation of his stuff, everything, memorabilia cards, any collectible related to him, that of course, because they're the hot hands. I mean, it's an incredible time now with Aaron Judge and Ohtani.
Aaron Judge, I mean, something, I'm becoming a real believer. I am becoming, like a legit.
You should be. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing with Aaron Judge, which, he doesn't get critiqued for it as other players do, the playoff numbers are not pretty.
No, they're not. And you're right. And that could change. I don't know, but I mean, his offensive numbers are like sick.
How badly do you think Major League Baseball is praying that one or both of these guys breaks Bond's single season home run record at some point, and maybe even career home run record, to get him off the books? I mean, that they are dying for that to happen.
I guess, but the thing is, it's always going to be there. You can't get rid of it. And now with the Pete Rose thing, personally, I I didn't agree with that at all. I think that's a mistake. And
letting him reinstating him.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. And what I suspect is going to happen is all the steroid guys are going to eventually get in the Hall of Fame. Once Rose goes in, they're going to have to let Clemens in, then they're going to have to let Bonds in, then McGuire gets in, then Sosa gets in, and it dilutes the meaning of it. I think it's a terrible signal to take. The way it was done, why it was done, I think was just really against baseball. And there was no need to do that.
My next question, actually, Steve, was going to be about Pete Rose, and we can use that as a jump off. In the hobby, since his reinstatement, now, just because he's reinstated, he can get in the Hall of Fame. Doesn't mean he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. But does any jump in interest in his cards? And if he were to get into the Hall of Fame, what do you think would happen with his collectibles?
I'll tell you about Pete Rose, and I'm a Reds fan, okay? I think he was probably my third or fourth favorite player, but I'm a Reds fan, and I love Pete Rose. And I met him. He's a great, real nice guy. Collecting-wise, he's not that far behind Mickey Mantle. We get big Pete Rose collections. We had COVID, a guy in Long Island. The stuff was unbelievable. There are so many people around the country making super advanced Pete Rose collections. People love him. Despite what he did, in terms of collecting, he's in the top 10 easily for baseball, maybe even the top 5. You have Mantle, I guess, would be first. He's not going to be far behind. And
That's really surprising to hear that, because you don't hear about his name that much in collectibles.
Well, I don't think, though, Steve, are the values of his cards up there?
Well, it varies. There's a lot of them, but in terms of what I mean more is the oddball stuff, the advanced, the real collectors who are trying to do everything of Pete Rose.
Right.
Really good Pete Rose stuff goes nuts. Like Pete Rose, Johnny Bench is my favorite player. Pete Rose has collected 20 times more than Johnny Bench, maybe 50 times more. Pete Rose has collected 50 times more than Mike Schmidt or George Brett or Tom Seaver. Any player in his contemporary, Rose, his popularity and his fame, and people love him. He comes to shows, he get, shows he would get feted. He was the guy. So I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. Everyone knows Pete Rose. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Obviously he can't sign HOF inscription stuff.
Right.
I'm sure he would have done. So
you know what the other thing is, Steve? We were talking about it last week. This also leaves the door open. No one's mentioned it. Obviously, they've mentioned Pete and Shoeless Joe, but this leaves the doors for guys like Eddie Sickhart, Chick Gandil, Buck Weaver. Those guys are all, fringe Hall of Famers with their numbers. Leaves the door open for those guys to get into the Hall also.
Yeah, and it could be Hal Chase also.
Hal Chase, yeah.
Book, he picked Hal Chase as being over Lou Gehrig on his first base team on his book. I mean, he picked him over him. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's a big mistake what they're doing. And if they let one in, I think Rose is going to get in. And then after that, Jackson will get in.
The thing with the and you mentioned the steroid guys, and I don't think McGuire or Sosa will ever get in, because I'm not sure they are Hall of Famers, to be honest with you. But in terms of, a guy like Palmeiro, he's got Hall of Fame numbers. Bonds, obviously. The thing is, those guys.
Brady Anderson.
Yeah, right. Steve Finley. Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, those guys weren't banned from baseball. So they could have gotten into the Hall of Fame in all this time. Sure. And they haven't. So I'm not sure anything's going to change with that. The theory I hear a lot is, as the older writers fade away, the younger version of the media will vote them in. I'm not so sure, and I'm not saying I'm for or against it, because I'm really still on the fence, but I'm not sure that's going to happen, to be honest with you.
You could be right. Could be right.
I can tell you this: Barry Bonds baseballs have effectively doubled in the last 2 years.
Is that right?
Really well. I mean, there's a group that wasn't. They didn't feel I don't know what the word is. Disillusionment. Like, the thing with Bonds, what bothered me was he was maybe my favorite player. And every time he'd come to, I'd go see him play. And at first I defended him. I was like, if there's any guy that's so talented,
I know
he could do it with the home runs. It's Bonds.
I know.
So it really bothered me fundamentally when I found out he was cheating, because he was already a Hall of Famer. He didn't need to do that.
As was Clemens too.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, before but Clemens, here's the thing though, Zap. Clemens was on the downslide, dude.
I understand that.
He was not the pitcher when Dan Duquette let him go.
Totally agree with you, JM.
But Bonds could have been. Bonds is a sad story, really, because he was on track, on pace to be.
Yeah, he was
the greatest player of all time, perhaps.
Well, the story I read in one of the books was that when in '98 Sosa McGuire came to the Giants, to San Francisco, and then Bonds went ballistic. More people were watching them in batting practice.
Yeah.
And supposedly that was the story when he started taking the steroids because he got so mad in his home park.
And Steve, the craziest part of that always confounded me is that if there's anyone you didn't think gave a crap about what someone thought of him, it was Barry Bonds. But that really ticked him off, that Sosa and McGuire were getting all of the credit and all the attention, which was surprising.
I'll tell you what, JM, put the steroids aside. That home run derby in the '99 series,
it was fun.
Was unbelievable fun.
It was a lot of fun, dude. I'm not denying that. It was great.
my son was on Lansdowne in that crazy crowd, just trying to catch home run balls.
Oh, the '99 All-Star game.
'99 All-Star game.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, it was crazy. We are chatting with Steve Verkman from Clean Sweep Auctions. We got a couple of minutes left. Taylor's going to be joining us after this next break. Taylor Fisher from the Fisher Cats, GM for the AA affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Too bad they didn't have another guy there named Katz. And a Fisher Cats from the Fisher Cats.
Listen, Steve, question about, it seems as though for some reason, there was a period of time when the Griffey rookie card just kind of became a little stagnant, but now it seems to have exploded. What's going on with that card? Do you have any idea?
Well, that generation that collects that stuff love him. He's like their Mickey Mantle. He's not tainted. He's not tarnished.
Right.
I mean, apparently, personally, he's not the nicest guy in terms of signing, but he's a beloved player, did everything right. Played the game the way it should be played for a long time. So his memorabilia, his autographs, everything of Griffey is very, very popular and very desirable. So they'll have a trading range. There's a lot of them out there, but any kind of high quality cards of Griffey, for that group, it's as good as it gets. Maybe the number one, because he's obviously going to be more valuable than Bonds. So in his time period, he's the guy. I don't even know who's second. I mean, Griffey's so far ahead, from the 90s, 2000s players. I guess.
I agree.
I guess you got Cheater, but I think Griffey's stuff might be. I think what it is might be more than Cheater, unless it's something very special.
All right, listen, we're going to take
What about?
a break.
Oh, you can take a break. We'll do it.
We're
on
going
the
to
other
take
side.
a break. Steve, just real quickly, your schedule for the rest of the year?
So we have the Clean Sweep Classic auction ends on June 11th. Initial bids have to be in by 8 o'clock. It's a great auction, big diversity of stuff. After that, we have a $5 reserve card auction that has a lot of neat stuff. Then we have a 2-day memorabilia and autograph auction, and then we repeat the cycle the rest of the year because we're insane. So there's five. There's five after this. Basically, an auction. There's an auction every month for the rest of the year with be over 10,000 items will be sold. A whole potpourri of stuff from super high end things to items for $50.
All right, Steve. We look forward.
It's a great auction. It really is a great auction, Steve.
We look forward to seeing you at the National, and congratulations on the merger between two great iconic houses, Clean Sweep and Leland's. We'll see you down the road.
Look forward to it, guys. Thank you so much.
We're going to take a quick
Steve.
break. When we come back, Taylor will be in the house. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
I'm Rebecca Curry, a 2-time child cancer survivor, recipient, and advocate for Lucy's Love Bus. The mission of Lucy's Love Bus, 501c3 nonprofit, is to provide joy, comfort, and quality of life for the entire family of children with cancer. Since 2006, they have delivered love and comfort to over 3,000 children with cancer and their family members across New England. The dream of Lucy Grogan, an 11-year-old cancer patient, was to help kids with cancer who are suffering right now, before there is a cure, by offering free, integrative therapies like art, music, horseback riding, and many other activities. Unfortunately, Lucy passed away, but her dream lives on, and today Lucy's Love Bus is thriving.
I'm Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petrocelli. I hope that you'll consider supporting Lucy's Love Bus and all of those children who have been stricken by cancer. The Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus to help these kids. Let's continue Lucy's dream. Please go to lucyslovebus.org for more information.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you are a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on their tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Okay, we are back, and it was good to see those guys, huh, JM?
It's always good to see those guys. They know
Good
what they're
guys.
talking about. They've been around a while. You get the Verkman sort of that magnetic electric personality that he has, and then and then you get Jordon, the youthful exuberance. I don't know. I got nothing else.
It was horrible.
I got nothing
Absolutely
else.
horrible. All right. Speaking of young, we are pleased to bring in Taylor Fisher from the Taylor. Come on, man. There's going to be something there, right? Fisher
It
Cats.
just worked out perfectly.
Are you kidding me?
When you interviewed, you said that you were
But my last name is Fisher. I'm
the
in.
owners, yeah, right, or something like that, right?
It just kind of worked out. It's just a great coincidence, and being as I think Tom, obviously born and raised in the area too. It's just the perfect coincidence.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Taylor is the GM of the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, the AA affiliate of the Toronto Blue Jays. Right out of the gate, who are some of the up and coming stars?
We got a lot of good guys on the roster. I think a couple of names that come to mind. RJ Schreck is one of our outfielders. He is, at least at some point last week, I don't know if he's still tied, but he was tied for the organization lead in home runs on the year. He had a huge May. So hope that continues on into June. Peyton Williams is one of the guys who's been really heating up. He's most known. His nickname is the Iowa Meat Truck. He just hits bombs. So
the Iowa Meat Truck, you gotta love that.
Yeah, he's just a Midwest kid, works his absolute butt off. He's obviously a big dude, can hit absolute monster home runs. He really heated up over the last week or so. He had a little bit tough start to the season, but he's been working really hard. So on the hitter side, that's two of the guys. We have a lot of really young, exciting talent. On On the pitching side, have a slew of guys. We've had a lot of guys that have been moving up to Buffalo as well.
Yeah.
One of our newer pitchers is Grant Rogers. He just moved up from our single A affiliate, which is out in Vancouver. Huge dude, and he just throws absolute gas. So he's a couple starts in with us, and he's been really, really fun to watch. He pitched on Sunday, brought my family down, and then my in-laws are all from Connecticut, so we went down to Hartford when we played the Yard Goats on Sunday, and he was the pitcher, and he was just mowing them down. So he's had a great transition to Double-A so far.
That's good. Got to put a smile on your
You
face.
know,
And Lou, by the way, Lou, jump in here, bro. Lou is a big Fisher Cats fan, correct, Louis?
Yeah, I've been going to the Fisher Cats since Gill Stadium up there. I tell my bonus daughter I've got a Fisher Cats t-shirt older than she is. Now, do you put Shrek next to the Iowa meat truck in the locker room, because with his Harvard Vanderbilt Duke background, maybe he can help with him a little bit.
Shrek's been great. It's I was telling this story on the radio this morning too. Like, the one thing, like, RJ is so smart. I was down in the dugout during a game last homestand, and he had finished up his at bat. I think he got out or struck out, but he came back to the dugout and was talking to all the guys about how the ball was breaking, what pitch locations like seemed to be happening with the pitcher out there. And he was just like teaching the guys about the pitcher on the mound. And I just really never seen that before, because I'm not in the dugout a lot during games. And I was just fascinated. And I told him that after the game. I was like, it was just so cool just watching you teach the guys in the moment, like how you're going to have success against the current pitcher. So,
well, RJ is nearly 25, so that must be a big asset for him in the clubhouse.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's been great.
Hey, Taylor, I've always wondered at the Double-A level, managers at the Double-A level, to me, that Double-A quality of baseball is kind of like the heart of the minor leagues, in my opinion. But for a manager, it's got to be kind of like bittersweet, because you're coaching some guys, you're managing some kids that are really good, and the next thing you know, they're gone. How does the manager feel about that? Obviously, he's going to tell the kid he's going to go from Double-A to Triple-A, but on the other hand, his team's probably going to be a little worse. Does that happen quite often?
It has been happening a lot this year, which is exciting. So our manager is Brent LaValle. He's incredible. He's our first-year manager here with the Fisher Cats, but he's been in the Blue Jays system for a while. He came from Vancouver, so the really cool thing is a few people on our coaching staff and a lot of our players moved up to Double-A with him this year to start the year. So a lot of familiar faces, Peyton Williams being one of them. And so it has been really cool where he's been able to develop a lot of people down in Vancouver and then move up with them here to New Hampshire. And then obviously continuing to grow those guys and get those guys moving on to Buffalo. So it's been really cool. When I've never really been, I'm a first-time general manager. So this is my first time seeing how those kind of promotions and everything happen. So it is bittersweet when the guys go off to Buffalo, because we have a ton of awesome dudes on our team. And it's really cool to see them working really hard day in and day out. But it's obviously super special to watch them move on to Buffalo. But also too, we're also over the last, I'd say 2-3 weeks or so, we've had quite a crop of talent move up from Vancouver, which is equally exciting, because Vancouver is an extremely talented baseball team. And so to begin a lot of those high performing guys that are moving up to here in New Hampshire, they're only going to make us better. So that's been really exciting too, getting the new guys in.
Taylor, the Blue Jays have done a good job in developing young talent over the years. And also I put them in one of those teams that early on, I'm talking decades ago, tapped into the Latin American international market. Can you just talk about the organization's scouting network, the reach, because it's not just in the United States, it's beyond that.
Yeah, that's kind of the fascinating thing, because so the GM of minor league team, we have nothing to do with the baseball side of things. We're all just the business operations of our venue, making sure we come up with the best promotions, we have the best facilities for our players, just making sure the stands are packed and all that. But I was able to go to spring training for the first time ever this year, and so I got to go down to the Blue Jays facility down in now I'm totally blanking on in Dunedin.
Is it, Dunedin, yeah, great and
Dunedin.
great fun place to go watch a game too in spring.
So
yeah.
Dunedin, their facilities is like the number one major league player development facilities out of all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
I have told everyone it was jaw dropping walking around their facilities. It is absolutely massive and is very intentionally built to make sure that every part of player development is heavily focused on. So that was really cool. I got to meet a ton of the Blue Jays front office and just kind of learn about what their mentality is. It was interesting. A lot of the baseball operations side, their office is actually out of Dunedin and not out of Toronto, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
So they're so heavily involved in the player development side that they're all down in Dunedin, and that's where their kind of base of operations is. And so there is a whole network of on the scouting side. I was talking to, so David Bell is their new assistant general manager. He's already been up to a couple games here this year, and I got to talk to him for a really long time, and just like transitioning from being a major league player to really the front office baseball ops side. And it was just fascinating to hear about, like, they're just traveling nonstop to learn about the current players. Then you have like the whole scouting side of things, developing the current rosters across all the affiliates. It was just very cool to learn about.
Taylor, how are you adjusting to the transition into being the GM of a AA? I mean, has it been a little overwhelming for you, or have you kind of transitioned in pretty quietly?
Not quietly. This is definitely a transition for sure. This is year 13 in baseball for me. But this is first year as a general manager. I was down in Nashville for the last 8+ years with the Nashville Sounds, who are the Brewers AAA affiliate. I essentially started in like ticket sales down there back at the end of 2016, and then was promoted a handful of times over 8 years. And I finished the last 3 years as the vice president of ticket sales and service. So all of my career has really been the sales side, ticket sales, partnerships, all that, just purely focusing on revenue generation. So transitioning here now, I'm in charge of the business.
Right.
We have an incredible ownership group that provides us with an immense amount of resources, and they own 43 of the 120 minor league baseball teams. So there's just an amount of resources that most minor league teams don't have access to. And a wealth of knowledge, but like, I'd be lying if I said I knew everything about running a business. Like, there's so much to learn on the operations side and the team side, managing the relationship with the Blue Jays, making sure we're good to go on game days, all our partners are happy, vendors, the city, all of that. Huge learning curve, but we're having a lot of fun along the way.
Jay?
Oh, Taylor, I was going to say, and you talk about that, and, Zap kind of touched on this a little bit, because your job is to develop talent. Not your job in particular, but the job of a AA or any minor league baseball team is develop talent. And for you, it's more creating an atmosphere. Can you just talk about that a little bit? Because we know minor league baseball brings something that Major League Baseball can't. Affordable, entertainment, a little bit more intimate, a little bit more
better hot
family
dogs,
oriented.
much better hot dogs.
And maybe better hot dogs. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, on the player development side, like, Major League Baseball has very high standards for player kind of health and wellness. So prior to my arrival, the ballpark, Delta Dental Stadium, we went under I think it was $6.5 million kind of stadium renovation, but that was entirely for Major League Baseball compliance. So we have a brand new batting tunnel, which is absolutely beautiful, weight room, all that. All the clubhouses were redone. So most of that was actually back of house. So like, the average fan wouldn't see that, but it was to make sure on the facility side, we have everything that is required to make sure we're meeting Major League Baseball standards.
We have a couple. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, we have a couple more minutes with Taylor. In the meantime, JM, why don't you tell us about our good friend Joe Drellick and the gang at the CSA show?
I'll do that, Zap. CSA Shows is proud to present the Chantilly Show, being held from June 27 to June 29, held at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia, just minutes from the Dulles International Airport. Celebrating 29 years at the same location, there will be over 450 dealer tables exhibiting on over 125,000 square feet of space. With both vintage sports cards and memorabilia, as well as modern-day sports treasures, you won't have to look very far for that special card, bat, ball, or autograph. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. Some of your favorite superstars will be on hand, including NFL Hall of Famers The Bus, Jerome Bettis, Marcus Allen, Eddie George, Baseball Hall of Famer Chipper Jones, and many more. Over 40 guests in total. For more information, go to www.csashows.com. That's the Chantilly Show, where you can find all of your sports collectible treasures.
All right, so Taylor, we want people to go out to support the Fisher Cats. It's a really great little ballpark. I've been there many times with my grandkids, and actually my kids when they were small. Great venue. And by the way, for disclosure purposes, you don't live in Merrimack anymore, though, right?
We finally moved out. We were living in Merrimack. We moved home the week of Thanksgiving, and we moved. So me, my wife, and our 2 little kids and our dog were living in my childhood bedroom for 3.5 months. So my parents were probably pretty relieved for us to move out. We just moved to Chester, 30 minutes east of the ballpark.
Sure.
So we moved in there, I guess, 2 months ago at this point. So it's been
Taylor's
great.
dad, Larry, has worn 4,335 different hats in this town. And he's a very, very nice guy, very well respected. What is he now? I know he's the head of the Historic Society. Is he the fire chief?
He is the fire chief. Yeah.
He's the fire chief.
Yeah.
He's all over the place. Anyway, so if people want to buy tickets, where do they go to?
Yeah, so our website is just nhfishercats.com. We have 60% of our home games left this year. So today is actually a 603 day. So June 3rd, 603 day for New Hampshire. So we got that going on. We have a whole bunch of games left. Every game we try to make a little different theme every night. Today we are the Manchester chicken tenders, because if you didn't know, the chicken tender was actually invented in Manchester.
I did not know that.
Fun fact. Saturday we are their Manchester buffalo tenders, just to put a little spin on it. So every day is different. We like to have a lot of fun, and like you said, Tom, everything's family friendly, affordable entertainment.
That's a great take. It really is.
Let's just ask Taylor before we leave, though, Tom. In the T206 book, Ali Latham is featured in there, and Ali Latham, besides being the first New Hampshire professional ball player, was also the guy who brought about the coach's box, because he used to harass the pitchers running
That's
down
a
the
great point. I don't know if you knew that. That's a good tidbit.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you should have.
You should have ballpark, because there's a little plaque and a little display there for Ali Latham as the first professional ball player.
You should have an Ali Latham day. Lou co-wrote our first book, the T206 collection, and Lou he dug up all that information on Ali, because Louis, correct me if I'm wrong, but he used to harass. I mean, he would run up and down the baseline, but he would harass players, right? Harass them.
He got thrown out of a game once because he thought it was getting it too dark, and he started lighting candles in the dugout, and the umpire got mad at him. But yeah, they put the base coaches in, because Ali used to run down the baseline and harass the pitcher, trying to distract him while he was pitching. So
that's why they put the baseline, the base box in.
You should honor him by taking out the coach's box for one game and letting the coaches do that, Taylor.
So I'm telling you, check him out, Taylor. Ali Latham.
There was at one point a display in the ballpark for Ali Latham, down just on the third base side of home.
I'll have to check it out. As far as honoring some people, I might be breaking some news publicly, but I do know our mutual friend Rico is going to be coming out with some Red Sox legends next month. So
nice.
Yeah, he mentioned that. You know something? Rico is unbelievable. He is unbelievable. I said, Rick, what do you got going
there? Right?
I'm sorry?
We should all be there.
I know we should. Actually, we should be there.
Yeah.
Because Rico, I said to Rick, what do you got coming up this month? I got not too much. I think I got to do something. And then he's got the Fisher Cats. He's got a Red Sox gig. Taylor, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. He goes to a Red Sox game. They give him his four grand. He's there for 3 innings, shoots the breeze, and by the 4th inning, gone. I call him 3 2/3. That's what I call him.
Yeah,
that's a quality start today. So
really,
that is true. Yeah, July 1st is when Rico and a couple more guys are coming out on July 1st. So
awesome.
We're excited.
listen, we wish you the best going forward, and congratulations, man, on being the GM, and the future is looking bright for you.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it. Always happy to come on whenever you guys want to talk.
Oh yeah, we'll keep. Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll get you on periodically.
You just let me know. I've never said no to a microphone.
Thanks, Dylan.
Graham, our first show together with Lou. With the new season. Good job. It's a little more comforting. I feel more comfortable. We both do.
Well, it's good getting the band back together.
That's right. It is.
Lou, and honestly, I don't say that to blow smoke, just because he makes us all look good, but he's one of the best guys I've ever worked with. So,
yeah, and Chrissy did a great job. And again, Chrissy's working behind the scenes with us. And Chrissy sent me, by the way, she sent me a video of her band in that festival. They're phenomenal. They are phenomenal. With that being said, Taylor, thank you very much. JM, thank you very much. Louis, great job. And to our viewers and listeners, next week we have Pete Shepard coming on.
Nice.
Pete Shepard, Boston broadcasting legend. You never know what direction you're going to go in with Pete. With that being said, happy collecting.